I'm going to clean out this old carburetor, even though I'm getting a new one. I just want to clean all the corrosion and everything out of there the best I can. I'm not going to go too crazy with it because we're replacing it, but I want to get I want to be able to start the machine and work on the throttle linkage. So in order to do that, I need to clean this up. I put the gasket surface on the wire wheel just to knock off most of just knocking off the chunks of gasket. Some of that stuff really gets stuck, but it'll be good to keep as a spare. Okay, now the main part of the throttle body. Oh, you know what? Let me finish with this part. This has so much corrosion in it. I've got a stainless steel brush. I'm just running that around in there for a little bit. Wow. I'm just using a little bit of sandpaper here to try to get some of the corrosion out of this thing. It's really bad. Alright, so we will parts washer that thing, but next we're going to do the main throttle body, or the main body of the carburetor. And it too has some corrosion on it. Just take a stainless steel brush and clean that off. I'm going to look at the gasket surface, which probably needs to be cleaned. Now the other place that there's crud is down inside of the float valve. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do much with that. That's kind of why I ordered a new carburetor. I'm going to put this on the wire wheel, clean it up. Okay, now the next tough one is the jet, which you can see the dirt on this thing is unreal. And that's just from old gasoline. You don't want to put that on the wire wheel or anything. Just a light brushing is all you should have to do. And that looks pretty good. So that's okay. Now this we can be a little more aggressive with. You can't even see the holes. So let me clean this off a little better. Right here and right there are little holes. And those holes adjust your fuel intake, depending on how far in the needle is into the jet body. Anyway, I need to try to clean down inside there. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that yet. I'm going down into the end of this with a wire brush, and I'm just twirling it around some, just to try to get some of that corrosion and crud out of there. Now, it's important, if you do this, that you don't make things worse by clogging these little tiny holes. And the only way you can do anything about that is to come in here with one of the little wires and poke the wires into the holes. That's what I'm doing here, just to make sure that I don't have anything stuck in the hole. And then up here, there's 4 more. These are clear because I can see through them all. So that's good. I think that's clean. I don't want to put it in the parts washer because if there's dirt in the solvent, these holes are so small, the solvent goes down through here, and if there's a particle of dirt, it'll clog the hole. And then you're worse off than you were before. Now, when I put these together, it feels correct. It doesn't feel all squishy and nasty like it was before. The float has some dirt on it. We'll just wire brush that off. I checked it. It doesn't seem to be it doesn't have any fuel in it, so it's should be okay. I'm not going too crazy here. I could put this on the wire wheel, but it's not necessary. As long as those big chunks are off of there. Okay. All right, now I'm going to go over to the parts washer, clean all this, and then I'll be back. There was so much dirt that came out of that carburetor onto my shop towels here that I'm going to get rid of these so that that dirt doesn't go back into the carburetor while I'm reassembling. Now I'm going to put the jet body back in here. Oh, actually, wait a minute. I can't. That's last. I almost forgot. Can't do that yet. Okay, so the float and the pin. Well, even the pin is rusty. That pin has got a massive thing of rust on it. All right, so the float is next. Get the pin ready to go in. We'll lay the float in here. Actually, hang on. We have to put the float valve on. So that goes right in here and just dangles right here off of this tongue like that. Okay, now we'll set that down in and then push the pin in. And the pin is going in a lot easier than it came out because it doesn't have all that corrosion on it. Okay. So there's that. Now we'll put the throttle, or put the carburetor body back together. The only thing is I need to remember which way it goes. It goes like this, okay? All right, so you make sure that the pin doesn't move, and then you just reassemble that. Of course, it's really helpful if you put the gasket on first. Okay. So this is take 2 of the reassembly process. Yeah, it's like I feel like I'm forgetting something. Yeah, I was forgetting something. So we'll just put this crappy gasket back on here. Yeah. And I think that just goes like that. Yep. All right, so gasket, then the float valve and the float, and then the pin. Now we can put this on. And then we'll put the screws in to hold the 2 halves of the carburetor together. That's tight. That's tight. Okay, they're all tight. Now we will reinstall the fuel jet. So that goes in here. Thread that in. And then we need a straight-sided screwdriver to get this in and out of here. So this, we're going to run it all the way in until it bottoms out. There we go. All right, so it's threaded all the way in. The metering needle in here. It's already got the little gasket. And that's it. The carburetor is back together. So I'm going to reinstall the carburetor. All I have to do is get the throttle linkage in that little hole there, which is just a simple matter of doing that. The gasket is still stuck to this, so we'll just leave that right there. So take this, and the little gasket. the gasket back on. Connect. This is exhaust gas recirculation hose, I guess is what you'd call it. So we'll put that back on there. That basically creates a vacuum in the crankcase. Okay, so that can sit there. And then now this screw will go down in and actually attach something. Okay, tighten that. Tighten that. Next thing is the fuel. I think we want to pull the fuel tank and clean it out. As much crud as I found in the carburetor, I think that fuel tank needs to be looked at. So we looked at the throttle linkage and we determined that, first of all, the throttle, whatever you call it, control was bent, so that wasn't helping matters. But it keeps popping out of these holes here, so what we're going to do is we're going to put it in the hole, and then we're going to put some safety wire completely around it. Probably just cut off a 2-inch piece and that should be good. So we're going to safety wire it on there. That. Yep. All right, that looks good. Let's try that. Now push. Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
so
if you push it, you're gonna bend it.
Now, did you tighten this down pretty tight?
Nope, that's pretty loose.
I would tighten that down.
Well, then you can't move it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was gonna say tighten it down fairly tight, but don't clamp it all the way down.
Well, that's pretty tight.
Too tight?
That's like.
Okay, if that's too tight, then loosen it up.
I'd say that's
fine.
a little too tight. That got a little bit.
Okay.
That's not.
All right, so that resolves the throttle issue, and then yeah, just nip that off. And then, yeah, bend that in so nobody snags their finger on it. Okay, so that takes care of that. That's good, because I was wondering how we were going to deal with that. We cleaned the fuel tank, drained it. We replaced the fuel hose because the fuel hose was really nasty. Now we're going to put the hose back on. First I'm going to give the fitting a little blob of white oil just to smooth it up a bit so the hose will go on easy. And there we go. And then some pliers. And that's all there is to that.